Welcome to the Motor Control Club. Today I will be wiring a holding circuit from beginning to end. You'll get to see how all the connections are made and watch the circuit energized at the very end. So without further ado, let's wire up this bad boy. This is our circuit for today, the holding circuit. I've also heard it called a latching circuit and retaining circuit. And what gives it its name is the use of a control relay, and it's normally open contact that's wired in parallel with the start button. The start button is momentary, however, it only needs to complete a path for a moment to energize the control relay so that its contacts close. Once the contact in parallel with the start button closes, it remains closed, completing a path for the control relay to stay energized until the stop button is pressed. Starting off now with the hot wire of our power supply, L1 on the schematic, I'm hooking this up to a miniature circuit breaker. I don't have the breaker shown on the schematic, but for this episode only, consider it a bonus. Continuing on, line 1 is now on the other end of the circuit breaker. And being inserted to a push-in terminal block. The 4 inserts on this terminal block share continuity and will feed all line 1 connections. I have the contact blocks for the push button station pre-wired. The red blocks are normally closed and the green are normally open. I'll be using the middle red block for my stop button and the left green for my start. Now, although I have my contact blocks wired, the wires run through the bottom of the push button station and under the board. So I'll use continuity on my multimeter, figure out which wire belongs to which contact block, and assign them a terminal block. I'm using the first 4 screw clamp terminal blocks, the 2 blues and 2 grays, and I'm arranging them from left to right, starting with the line side of my stop button, load side of my stop button, line side of my start, and load side of my start. I have line side of my stop and line side of my start so far. Now I'm landing the load side of my start. And I'm left with the load side of my stop. I had pre-wired the stop to the start button on this frame. I skipped ahead, but we will get back to that later. For now, we focus on the connection from L1 to the push-in terminal block. And from that terminal block, we wire L1 directly to the line side of the stop button. You can insert up to 2 wires in these screw clamp terminal blocks. Here we have our direct connections to the contact block, and I'll be making a direct connection from the load side of the stop to the line side of the start. This will be the line side of the coil of the 8-pin relay. This is what needs to be energized to have the contact switch position. And that will be connected on the other end of the terminal block that houses the line side of the start button. Here we land our neutral side on the 8-pin relay. And assign it to a terminal block where all our neutral connections will go. Now we focus on the holding contact that is to be wired in parallel with the start button. Here we have one side of the normally open contact. That will share the same terminal block that the coil of the relay went into, the line side of the start button that heads to two places, the coil of the relay and the side of the normally open contact. I went ahead on that frame, but now we're wiring the other side. So here we have the other end of the normally open contact. And we wire directly to the terminal block housing the line side of the start button. Now grabbing power from line 1 again. That's heading to another normally open contact of the 8-pin relay. And to the other side of the normally open contact. One will be connected to the normally open contact and the other will be connected to neutral. From my normally open contact, I landed on one of the motor leads. And I'm gonna land this extra wire to the neutral. And that will complete my neutral connection to my motor. Now landing the neutral side of my power supply. And now the moment you've been waiting for, let's energize. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you found this helpful and if there's anything I missed or would like for me to cover. Thanks again.